that the Earth's magnetic field is just about, I forgot.
0.5. That can be the intro.
MRI scan is one of the most important imaging devices for the spine.
How will your spine look in an MRI scanner? And specifically, how will it look if you have a disc prolapse? This is Mohammed.
This is Andy.
This is the Neurosurgeons channel.
And this is the only place where you find two neurosurgeons talking to you about everything about the brain and spine. In today's video, we'll talk to you about how the MRI scan works and how your back will look like in the MRI scan. Our body is formed mostly by water and fat. And if you remember from your chemistry class, the water is formed by two hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom. These atoms move in random directions.
Now I'm going to make Mohammed into a water atom. As you can see, and as Mohammed's described, the water atom will randomly be moving in your body in the normal environment. Once you're in the MRI machine, which contains a very strong magnet, the water atom will line up and be held in a fixed position. Next, a large radio frequency pulse is emitted by the MRI machine and knocks the atom into a new position. Once this radio frequency pulse is released, the atom starts moving again in its normal random fashion, and the energy that's sent out is detected by a scanner, and it's this energy that the computer then turns into an image which you see as your MRI scan.
The magnets inside the MRI scan are very strong. This is measured in what's called Tesla. The power of the MRI scan magnet can be as low as 0.5 and as high as 7 Tesla, which is equivalent to 5,000 to 70,000 Gauss. You can imagine how strong this magnet is, given the Earth's magnetic field is about 0.5 Gauss.
The MRI that is created gives images in 3 different planes. The first plane is the axial plane. If you imagine you have a cake, this is as though you've cut it across the middle to give you 2 more circles or cylinders. The next plane is the sagittal plane, which is a cut straight down the middle, cutting the image in half lengthways. Finally is the coronal plane, and this gives you an image which takes slices moving from the front all the way to the back.
Now we'll just show to you how the normal spine will look like in the MRI scan. Here you can see this is a sagittal view of the MRI scan, and what you can see that we have building blocks, which are the vertebrae above each other. Between these building blocks we have the cushions, which are the disc, and then the white thing is the fluid that runs around the nerve, which we call it the cerebrospinal fluid. And the grey thing going down is basically the nerves extending from the brain all the way down to the lumbar spine and providing nerve supply to the whole body. This is another view, which is an axial section through the normal spine, where you can see the circular thing is the vertebral body, and these areas are called facets. And if you can see in the middle, the white thing again is the cerebrospinal fluid, and you can see little black dots inside, which are the nerves going through this fluid.
So Mohammed's given a lovely description of what a normal sagittal and axial MRI of the lumbar spine looks like. Here we have an abnormal scan which shows a large disc prolapse between the 4th and 5th lumbar bone at the base of the spine. We have a large disc that has come out of place and travelled downwards and is pressing on the nerves that give power and sensation to the legs and potentially the bladder and bowel as well. Here, as before, we have an axial image. The main difference you can appreciate that to the left of the image you're looking at, which is actually the patient's right side, is a large disc prolapse. The main difference also you can see is that you can no longer see those tiny black dots, which are each of the nerve fibers, and you can't see the white fluid, which is the spinal fluid, anymore. This means that there is a lot of pressure on these nerves because of this disc prolapse.
In our next video, we'll be talking about the different tests that can be done to image the spine, These are the MRI, CT scan, and X-ray, and what are the differences between all of them.
Now that you've seen the way an MRI looks of your lumbar spine, feel free to ask your doctor or surgeon to look at your own scan pictures when you're next in your clinic.